Hello and welcome to The World Today. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. Bilateral relations lead the bulletin this hour as the Russian President Vladimir Putin pledges assistance to his Indonesian counterpart Prabowo Subianto in the area of nuclear energy. Both leaders met earlier today in Moscow, the Russian president saying both countries have very good prospects in energy, including nuclear generation. The Russian president also recalled the wide-ranging cooperation in industry, agriculture and education and described Indonesia as a transitional partner in military technical collaboration. Mr. Putin also congratulated Indonesia on joining BRICS in January and expressed support for Jakarta's efforts towards negotiations with the Eurosec on establishing a free trade zone. Mr. Subianto arrived in Moscow on an official visit this morning.
Welcome. We have very good prospects in the field of energy, including the nuclear power generation. I know that your country has such plans, and if you deem it possible to use our specialists, we are always at your disposal. Traditionally, we have very reliable relations in the field of military technical cooperation. Indonesia is our traditional partner in this field, and the ties, the relations, direct contacts between our defense ministries also developing. They maintain contact, and so they maintain the level of good professional cooperation in our schools, in our military schools. We always train Indonesian specialists, and we are ready to expand this cooperation.
In a bid to tackle illegal migration, European countries, including the United Kingdom, have agreed to negotiate a new approach to the continent's main human rights treaty. This comes after a meeting of justice ministers in Strasbourg, following calls from some countries to revamp the European Convention on Human Rights for the modern age. The 46 nations that are part of the convention will now work towards adopting a political declaration on the issue at a summit next May. It follows political pressure on the issue, including the Conservatives and Reform UK, who are calling for a complete British withdrawal from the treaty. Staying in Europe, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says the country is ready to hold elections within 3 months if its allies can guarantee security for the polls. He made this statement after US President Donald Trump repeated claims that Kyiv was using the war to avoid holding them. President Zelensky's 5-year term was due to end in May 2024. However, elections have been suspended in Ukraine since martial law was declared following Russia's invasion. Speaking to journalists after President Trump's comments, Mr. Zelensky said he would request that proposals be drawn up to amend the law. According to him, elections could be held in the next 60 to 90 days if security for the vote is guaranteed with the help of the US and other allies. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has condemned the unauthorized entry into the United Nations Sheikh Jarrah compound held by UNRWA. His condemnation was expressed through his spokesperson, Stefan Dujarric, at the UN headquarters in New York. Mr. Dujarric said that the Secretary-General urges Israel to immediately take steps to restore, preserve and uphold the inviolability of UNRWA premises.
All right, another location, Gaza. It seems that there would be soon a discussion on the phase 2 of the ceasefire. Has the UN have any role or had any discussion with any parties on the ground?
I mean, we continue to be very much engaged with the relevant parties. I mean, as you recall, the Secretary General was in Doha not too long ago, had conversations with the Emir and the Prime Minister, Foreign Minister. We know the U.S. Ambassador, Mike Waltz, was in Jerusalem. He met with Ramiz Al-Abkarov, our Deputy Special Coordinator. Mr. Fletcher has had contacts with the U.S., so we continue to be in contact. But we are not directly involved in the negotiations and discussions on the implementation of Phase 2.
And in the term of Gaza, a couple of days ago, it's been reported that IDF Chief of the General Staff said that the yellow line, the Trump ceasefire plan, the yellow line is now the new border of Gaza. It's actually a large chunk of land outside the yellow line. What's the...
First of all, that seems to me to go against the spirit and the letter of the Trump peace plan. We firmly stand against any change of the borders of Gaza and Israel.
Well, Thailand has dismissed the prospect of immediate talks with Cambodia. Addressing journalists during a press conference, Thailand's foreign ministry spokesperson stressed that while diplomacy will resume, the timing is not now. The spokesperson adds that letters were also sent to the UN Secretary General and the President of the UN Security Council. He said violations had forced more than 400,000 civilians to evacuate from its border areas, and added that the ministry is continuing to work closely with foreign media as the situation develops.
We have already issued 2 formal letters of protest to Cambodia, calling on Cambodia to cease its violation of Thailand's sovereignty and territorial integrity, to accept full responsibility for the incident and demonstrate good faith and sincerity by immediately ceasing all provocative actions. Our ambassador and permanent representative of Thailand to the United Nations in New York submitted letters to the United Nations Secretary General and the President of the United Nations Security Council to inform about Cambodia's violation of Thailand's sovereignty and territorial integrity following its indiscriminate attacks that forced over 400,000 civilians to evacuate urgently. The letters also highlight the necessity for Thailand to conduct military operations in self-defense to protect our sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Meanwhile, the United States has warned Thailand and Cambodia to cease hostilities immediately as border clashes enter a 3rd day in the region, killing at least 10 people and displacing hundreds of thousands. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the 2 nations must follow the de-escalatory measures outlined in a peace accord brokered by President Donald Trump in October. President Trump has also said that he would make a phone call to stop the fighting, which is the most serious escalation since clashes in July killed dozens of people. Both countries have blamed each other for reigniting the fighting, which has included airstrikes and exchanges of artillery fire. And still to come on the program. Trust me, you want to stay here if you want to make this holiday. It's the Yongsan Park in Seoul, bringing in the cozy Christmas feeling. Welcome back. On Tuesday, the Economic Community of West African States declared a state of emergency across the region. The ECOWAS Commission President Omar Toure made the announcement at the 55th session of the Mediation and Security Council in Abuja, Nigeria's capital. His reason for doing this, he says, is because the region now faces an average high-risk security rating, citing recent military interventions. in Guinea-Bissau and Benin Republic, stalled political transitions in Guinea, growing electoral exclusion, and the expanding reach of terrorists and criminal networks.
The 55th session of the ECOWAS Mediation and Security Council opens in Abuja amid security challenges within the region, including military coups, violent extremism, and food insecurity. Diplomats and senior officials, including Nigeria's Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, are attending the meeting to consider the escalating political and security threats across the region. The meeting focuses on assessing country-by-country security risks, safeguarding democratic systems, and preparing for key elections in Guinea, Benin, and the Gambia and Cape Verde. It also seeks to boost regional coordination against terrorism and organized crime.
Events of the last few weeks have shown the imperative of serious introspection on the future of our democracy and the urgent need to invest in the security of our community. Elections have become a major trigger of instability in our community. Despite the best of efforts of our community to establish constitutional convergence principles and to have a support program for elections in our region in order to safeguard our democratic credentials and stability, we have continued to witness political practices that violate some of these principles.
According to the Commission, the region faces a worsening humanitarian crisis driven by conflicts and political instability, leading to the displacement of over 7.6 million people, food insecurity, which may force millions to hunger, prompting urgent calls for action to protect vulnerable populations.
Our region continues to see grim numbers on the humanitarian front. Behind these numbers are families, women and children who bear the brunt of instability. We must therefore take decisions and actions that will reverse this trend.
The political and security climate across the community is becoming more fragile, and our citizens are understandably very anxious. The discussions we have today must move beyond just reaffirming principles. They must generate decisions that offer real hope and strengthen the credibility of our institutions.
The Council is expected to issue strong security and governance recommendations to the heads of state and government, who are expected to meet later in the week to protect communities, preserve regional unity, and restore stability. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Powder white wigs, long gowns, and a white wing collar are a debated symbol of colonial legacy, and now many African nations, including Nigeria, are pushing them out or phasing them out in favor of local attire due to climate costs and cultural relevance. We're used to seeing Nigerian lawyers wearing the traditional wig and gown at the Abuja High Court. These wigs originated in the 17th century European aristocracy and were popularized by French King Louis to hide baldness, a tradition later adopted by British colonizers and carried forward through their legal systems. Now Nigeria's legal fraternity is doubling down on calls to abolish these symbols of a bygone era, arguing that modern justice should reflect national identity rather than colonial relics.
Nigeria is a country that has, like they say, they claim we have three major tribes in Nigeria: the Igbo, the Yoruba, and the Hausa. If you want to choose a particular regalia for the lawyers, which will you choose? Will you choose the Yoruba dressings? Will you choose the Hausa dressings? Will you choose the Igbo dressings? Do you understand? You just must, there are three major tribes. Will you go dressed like a Yoruba person to the court, or the Hausa person like an Igbo person?
We cannot identify with this this type of legal system attire because it is not part of our culture. It is something that is adopted, and it's also it's taking us back. It's taking us back to the colonial. Each time we put all this what we call the horse chairs and all of this together, we put it. It makes us to look not to look like Africans.
When you go to these courts, you realize that some of them don't have lights. The ventilation in those courts are very poor. So it's a bit difficult to wear that type of attire, suited with tie, your belt, and you'll be in an environment where there's lack of ventilation. So that type of dressing, I would say, in that circumstance, does not really suit the environment that we are expected to dress.
If you add up the wig and the gown, the person is going crazy. Any sane person will reject that. And so, even in the courtrooms, I don't like them, except there is AC there. So, all these things are unfortunate things that we just borrowed. At best, they should serve for ceremonial purposes.
Here in Lagos, 3 students from Education District 2 won a total of 2.2 million naira at the 21st Annual Lagos State Spelling Bee competition. The Lagos State Commissioner for Basic and Secondary Education, Mr. Jamiu Ali Balogun, says the competition is about building leadership in students and commended the students for their excellent performance.
It's the 21st edition of the Lagos State Spelling Bee competition for public secondary schools, and select students from the 5 divisions of the state converge on Agidingbi, Ikeja, for the event. Organized annually by the Office of Education Quality Assurance, it is held to test academic performance in the students.
You want to see the best in you, your thinking, critical thinking ability, your ability to express yourself, your ability to build confidence, and then your ability to come out with naturally to express yourself in a way that you can see that you are doing very well.
In mastering complex vocabulary, you are not just memorizing words, you are opening doors to new ideas, enhancing your communication skills, and strengthening the foundation of your future academic and professional success.
The competition begins, and one after the other, the students' spelling ability is put to the test.
Correct.
Wife of the president, Chief Mrs. Oluremi Tinubu, who initiated the program over 2 decades ago, sent a message of encouragement to the students through her representative.
To our contestants, I applaud your courage and hard work. Whether you win or not, you've already shown remarkable determination and passion for learning. To the teachers, parents, and coaches, thank you for guiding and supporting the brilliant students.
Then the winners are announced, and Salami Jumai from Education District 11 emerges second runner-up and receives 500,000 naira cash prize. Awoyemi Dockers of Ikosi Senior Secondary School, Ikosi Sherry, is first runner-up and receives 750,000 naira. And Etiyeye Monu Esther of Senior Model College, Igbokuta, Imota, is the winner of the 21st edition of the Lagos State Spelling Bee, who receives 1 million naira for her confidence and exceptional spelling prowess.
We move over now away from Nigeria, back to Russia, which has sent a plane load of humanitarian aid to Sri Lanka after the island nation was struck by Cyclone Detwa in late November. According to the Sri Lankan ambassador to Moscow, the plane carrying 35 tons of humanitarian aid has already departed for Sri Lanka and is expected in the country today. Detwa, which was Sri Lanka's deadliest natural disaster since the devastating 2004 tsunami, killed 635 people and affected about 10% of the population. It damaged critical infrastructure and key crops such as rice and tea. Local officials warned that recovery costs could reach $7 billion. Well, it's been a black Wednesday in Morocco following a building collapse in the city of Fez that killed at least 22 people and injured 16 others. The two four-story residential buildings came down in the early hours of today. It contained 8 families. The Fez is one of Morocco's oldest cities, with parts dating back to the 8th century. It's also the third most populous city in Morocco. Search and rescue is underway to find anyone still under the rubble. Several media clips showed people digging and sifting through debris in the dark. Residents from nearby buildings have been evacuated as a preventive measure. And Sophie Kinsella, author of the best-selling Shopaholic series of novels, has died at the age of 55. Her family made the announcement. The writer, whose real name is Madeleine Sophie Wickham, was diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer in 2022. A statement posted to her social media accounts on Wednesday read, "We are heartbroken to announce the passing this morning of our beloved Sophie, aka Maddie, aka Mummy. She died peacefully, with her final days filled with her true loves, family and music and warmth and Christmas and joy." Kinsella's books have sold more than 50 million copies in more than 60 countries and have been translated into more than 40 languages. Tributes have been paid from around the literary world, including from her fellow authors, as well as her agent and her publisher. And finally on the program, a section of Yongsan Park in Seoul, once part of the headquarters of the U.S. Army in Korea, has been transformed into a cozy Christmas village for the winter season, drawing families, couples and groups of friends looking for a festive atmosphere. This footage, filmed on Tuesday, shows visitors gathering beneath the Christmas tree, taking pictures against glowing facades and strolling through the decorated pathways. Yongsan Park in Seoul used to be part of Yongsan Garrison, the U.S. military headquarters in Korea, after the Korean War until 1988, when work started to convert the space into a civilian park. It served as the home base of U.S. forces stationed in South Korea until 2018. Earlier, it had been used by the Imperial Japanese Army as a military facility from 1906 until 1945. Christmas has grown increasingly popular in South Korea, blending both religious and secular traditions. While only a minority of the population is Christian, festive decorations, gift-giving and public events have become an integral part of winter celebrations in cities across the country. And that's our show today. Thank you for watching. I'm Joker Rogers.